What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Truth Recon. For those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, I am Agent D. Baker, a retired narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and also U.S. Navy combat veteran of OEF and OIF. I've spent years in high-stakes environments, whether that was overseas in combat zones or right here at home on the streets, fighting crime, investigating cases, and seeing firsthand the damage drugs and corruption can do to our communities. These days, I take that real-world experience and use it here, teaching interview and interrogation techniques, body language analysis, and leadership development. And through this platform, I dig into the stories that matter most to you, stories of truth, justice, and accountability. And like always, I've got to give you a heads up. This show dives deep into some heavy subjects. There may be some explicit content, so it may not be suitable for kids. Listener discretion advised. Now, let's get into it. Today, we're talking about Dustin Beaty. And I've got to be straight with you. This one hits close to home because of all of my years of experience in narcotics, as well as growing up in a house that was ravaged by those same. And communities all over this country have been torn apart by the opioid epidemic. Families shattered, kids left without parents, parents burying their own children. And in the middle of all that destruction stands a man who now wants to represent us in the Alabama House of Representatives, District 13. You've probably seen his campaign ads. They're slick, emotional, carefully crafted. They talk about redemption, about his battle with addiction, about his journey back. But here's the problem. When you peel back the layers, when you stop listening to the campaign spin and start looking at the hard evidence, the records, and the numbers, a very different story comes into focus. According to federal DEA data, Dustin Beaty's pharmacy, hospital discount dispatch, right there in Jasper, Alabama, was responsible for dispensing over 5.2 million opioid pills between 2006 and 2012. Let me say that again so it sinks in. 5,225,710 pills in just a few years. And during that same time frame, Walker County recorded at least 254 opioid-related between 2008 and 2017. That's just it's not counting the ODs that people survived, but still destroyed tons of lives. And if you live in Walker County, you don't need me to tell you that these aren't just numbers. These are neighbors, classmates, coworkers, friends, and family. I don't know anyone that their family hasn't been some way impacted by the opioid epidemic. Nobody. The first podcast I did on Dustin Beaty, I got a lot of pushback stating, well, he was a pharmacist, so he was doing what he was just prescribing what doctors were prescribing people. I understand that. That is not my concern here. It's not. My concern is the amount of pills that he sold illegally. Let me say that again. The amount of pills he sold illegally, not with a doctor's prescription. The amount of pills that he sold out of his back door of his pharmacy. That's what we're talking about. Yet this man wants us to believe he is redeemed. And hopefully he has. I pray for anyone in that situation that they get redeemed. But we're not talking about a victim here. We're not talking about an opioid victim. Maybe he was an addict. I don't know. That's all he's claiming. He was just sucked into it just like everyone else. However, that's not the truth. He was illegally distributing these opioids along with some other things. I myself have interviewed 4 different people that I would never reveal names, obviously, that was in business with him back then, that either purchased these things illegally from him or dealt them for him. We're talking about 4 different people that I, as far as I know of, they're not friends with each other. They don't hang out. They didn't get together and get their stories together. You see what I'm saying? But yet they all have the same stories. That's what I'm so frustrated about Mr. Beaty for. He wants to act like he was just a victim, that he was just an addict. However, he won't come clean. He will not be honest about what he really did. So has he really been redeemed? No. If he had, he would be honest about all of this. And if he was honest about all of this, I would have a lot more respect for the man. But he's only being honest about part of it. Yet he wants us to trust him to send him to Montgomery to represent us. Come on, people. Also, I'm not trying to claim Dustin Beaty is a horrible man today. I don't know. I don't know him personally. He may be a great family man now. However, that does not mean he is fit to serve us in Montgomery. I know a lot of people that are amazing family people, that are great people. That's not the only qualification here. We are talking about a former drug dealer, illegal drug dealer, who sold a lot of these opioids out of his back door and some other things. The election is tomorrow. I would not be making this video. I would have never made a video about him at all if I didn't see how horrible this would be if he is elected. I do not know the man running against him. I do not know his opponent. Literally could not tell you his opponent's name. And I've kept it that way for a reason. So people couldn't claim that I am working for the opponent. I literally could not tell you his name. I have purposely not researched the other person at all. He may not be the best person in the world, but he's not a former dealer. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've been accused of all that since I put the first podcast out about him. That I'm in the pockets of his opponent. I don't even know who his opponent is. All I know about his opponent is I've not heard anything about him. That's a good thing, because the amount of people I've spoken with in relation to Dustin Beaty, it has taken up a lot of my time lately. And that's not me. I have not reached out to one person in relation to him. Not one. These are people reaching out to me. Tons of people that were affected directly by his illegal doings back when he was a pharmacist previously. Mr. Beaty also claims he lost his business. He lost his pharmacy license. He did lose his pharmacy license. He didn't lose his business. The tax returns were there. He still had a very good income through all of that. Yet he wants us to think he was he literally says he lost everything. Did he? Did you lose everything? Because that's not what the paper trail is showing. See, I'm really good at following the money, and that's what I've done. And it doesn't lead to you being left with nothing, Mr. Beaty. So again, why are you lying about that? Did you think that's the only way people were going to trust you? That if they thought you went from being high on the hill to the lowest person in the world? Mentally, you may have. I don't doubt that. But that's it. Again, I followed the money. You didn't lose everything. You did not. Do you hear me? Do y'all hear me? He did not lose everything. Why is he lying about that? Mr. Beaty, why are you lying about losing everything? Every one of your ads that I've watched, everything that I've seen you put out, I can point out numerous lies that can easily be proved. But he thinks you, the voter, is so dumb, you won't pick up on any of that. That's what he thinks. That's what he thinks about you. If he thought you were intelligent, he would be honest about all of this. However, he's not being honest about hardly anything. And again, I don't care what church he goes to now. I don't care how much he claims he is a Christian. I hope he is. I truly do. It's not my department to judge whether he's a Christian or not. My department is to judge whether I think he is fit to represent his district in Montgomery. And his record shows he is not. He is not an honest man. Okay? If you don't take anything else away from this, listen, he is not an honest man. And he is lying about some really big things. Really big things. There is a lot more to him than he puts out. There was a lot more involved when he got his pharmacy license pulled. A lot more. And over 5,000 pills still to this day missing and completely unaccounted for. Well, they're not missing anymore. I know where they went. To some of the people that I've spoken with. Quite a bit of them, actually. I don't know Dustin Beaty personally at all. I've never in my life met the man. However, this is personal to me because I'm not a big fan of dealers. Not at all. I've sent quite a few very large dealers to federal prison and state prison. Not a big fan of them. You've heard me say, if you follow me, you've heard me say numerous times my feelings on addicts. Most addicts are good people, truly. They made some bad decisions and then continue to make some decisions. Bad ones. But when they're straight, when they're sober, they're great people. They can change. Absolutely. The fact here is that's not what we're talking about. He wants us to believe that's what he was. But what he was first and foremost, a dealer, illegal dealer. He didn't just sell these to people that were prescribed them by a doctor. In fact, he sold a lot illegally out of his back door. This is on the voters. You have a decision to make tomorrow. All I'm doing is laying out facts. That's it. And I'm tired of putting these same exact kind of people in office in Montgomery. And I hear that from all of you too. I hear that from tons of people every day. But here you go. He has he has some supporters. He has people that has fallen completely into his trap and believing what he says. I've pointed out the blatant lies he has said over and over and over again. I've dealt with informants for years. I would not have been successful in my previous capacity without really good informants. Almost all of those informants were either addicts or dealers and helped me move up that chain. I know these people. I know how they operate. When I had conversations with these people that were in business with him back then, I know they were being honest with me about what they were telling me. I'm just laying out the facts. I'm telling you, this man who is wanting to represent his district in Montgomery was a very big illegal dealer and cost a lot of people their lives. This man single-handedly destroyed numerous families, yet he wants your vote. Come on. Now let's lay out the questions that have yet to be answered by Mr. Beaty. Was Dustin Beaty truly an addict, or was that narrative convenient cover? I told you my opinion on that. How many lives were destroyed by him? How many? Where did all the profits go? Where did all that money go? I know where it went. Who pulled the strings to shorten his suspension from the pharmacy board? He knows, yet he's not telling any of us. Why? And finally, how can someone tied so deeply to one of the darkest chapters in our country's history now stand before us and claim he's fit to lead us? The opioid epidemic has more people in this country than any wars we've ever been in, by far. This isn't about party politics. I am as Republican as they come. I've never in my life voted for a Democrat. So it's not about Republican versus Democrat. It's about truth. It's about accountability. And it's about whether the people of Walker County deserve honest representation. Opioids destroyed this country. Destroyed it. We cannot afford to let the people who fueled that destruction rewrite history and walk away without answering the hard questions. This is Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker. Make sure you follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube for the full episodes of my podcast. Truth, justice, accountability. And that's what we're here for.